Well, Broncos country, it is official. It is officially Davis Webb, WebMD season, however way you wanted to call it, as Sean Payton has officially announced that Davis Webb will be calling plays for the offense. I am joined by two of my really good friends, David talks Broncos, and of course, Kodiak. Guys, how you doing? How are we reacting to this, I guess, breaking news, even though we kind of anticipated it? What are your overall thoughts? Kodiak, I'll start with you.
Man, I'm just really, really excited to see what comes to this because I felt like we all knew this was coming, but when you have one of the hottest coaching prospects in the NFL on your staff, you got to basically give him a chance to showcase his stuff. And this is the first time that in 20 years of Sean Payton coaching a team that he is not going to call plays. And Sean Payton, as he gets older, he's going to need to rely on the staff a little bit more. And I think this is a great first step in a transition period for us. David, what do you think?
I don't want to hear one negative thing about Sean Payton's ego. Oh my God, dude.
Thank you.
I mean, we were talking about this in the Discord, right? About how, man, we're expecting a pissy Sean Payton because even the Buffalo Bills came out and said that Davis Webb was going to be calling plays before he got the opportunity to. And yeah, we got a Sean Payton that's in a good mood that, I guess he's reaching that age, right, where he's wanting to take some things off his plate. We've had play calls come in late for the last 3 seasons. And he seems to think that he kind of framed this as this is in the best interest of our team, which I thought was very interesting. So any of y'all that think Sean Payton's ego is hindering this team, is holding back this team, y'all can take the L. Y'all take the L because this is a great move that he's making, man. Bill Belichick, well, he did hand that stuff off later, but Bill Belichick would never do this, all right? Yeah. That's the agenda.
No, I love it, man. Dude, I'll tell you what, man, like, I agree with you 100%. I always felt like the whole thing of, like, Sean Payton's ego is, like, overblown. Like, yeah, he's got a big ego, but every successful NFL coach does and should have a big ego. And they painted him out to be like this guy that, wouldn't change. And all he's done is fire his best friend offensive coordinator. Now he's giving up play calling duties. I love it, man. I thought it was the right move. And he seems excited about it. And honestly, man, like, you got to think about it. Think about all of the stuff that these coaches go through on game day, especially if you're the play caller, especially when you're someone like Sean Payton's play calling, where, like, sometimes it drives you crazy as a fan because, he has to remind himself to run the ball, but he calls certain plays to set up other things, and he doesn't always get to those plays, and he's, like, very calculated. So you got that. Plus, you got to worry about the game management. Plus, you got to see what kind of personnel the defense is on, and then what kind of personnel you got, and then all of these things. And he's in his mid-60s, man. So this is going to be a good opportunity for him to just manage the game, sit back. I think he's going to be a really good resource for Davis Webb, too. I think he's going to be able to set him up for the most amount of success and focus on coaching the whole team. He'd said, one of the quotes I wrote down here was, he said that, I'm willing to do whatever it takes for the Denver Broncos to win. And he felt like that was the best thing. And obviously, he said it a lot of times too. It was really about Davis Webb being extremely talented. He kept saying that.
Yeah.
He wasn't just going to hand this off to, like, Joe Lombardi, right? he was going to wait to have a really smart young head coach that understood what he wanted. And that's exactly what Davis Webb is. He's entering his 4th year with Sean Payton. So it's not like this is just a newbie. I think we forget that he was here for a year before even Bo Nix arrived. So I love it. We got some Arabic being written in the chat too, man. Hell yeah. Love that.
That's awesome. But yeah,
probably something to do with the Lebanese flag. I can't read Arabic though, man. My bad. But anyways, was there anything else about the presser that you guys picked up on that, maybe caught your attention or you feel like, is worth discussing?
Well, I mean, I did think that he did say a little something about how operationally I felt like they weren't good enough last year or something like that. I feel like, didn't he say a little something about that where, it was just driving him nuts about, being late getting the plays in. And that's something that, that's one of the advantages of this. Okay. During this previous season, even when the offense was struggling, none of the 3 guys on this panel were ever like, yeah, Sean Payton should give up the play calling. none of us were ever in that camp whatsoever. But it is going to be exciting because Sean Payton can now just sit back and be that CEO head coach. And David also talked about this. He said that at this point in his career, Sean Payton just needs to rely more on his coaching staff. Becoming like the college level head coach where you just let your offensive and defensive coordinators cook. Man, that might be the best thing that he could do at this point of his career because ultimately he is an A1 culture builder. What do you guys think?
I agree. I don't know, man. I don't know if Respect My Coast is out here if he's trolling or if he's being serious, but he's saying he's being scapegoated. So a little bit of the opposite of what it is that you think, but
I don't know if you can scapegoat him after going 14-3 or whatever we went, 15-4, whatever we finished out with. But man, I'm optimistic about this. I don't think Sean hands this over if he's not ready for it. So, but I want to remind the fans, okay, there are gonna be some bumps with this thing, okay. He's going to be a first-time play caller. Like, this thing ain't going to be perfect. So
it hasn't been perfect for a long time, David.
It's time for Sean Payton to take over again after week 4.
Yeah,
I don't want to be talking about that. And also, we want to complain about the tight end position, dude. We're not moving on from Evan Ingram. This man was drafted to the Giants with Evan Ingram. You think he's got a plan to actually integrate him more into the offense? So I'm excited to see what he can do with real weapons, and real mismatches. Zach Stevens talked earlier today about the Broncos actually extending Marvin Mims, which I'm just like meh about. But I'm cool with that if we decide to actually use him as a part of the offense down the field. How about that? So let's see what Webb can do.
Yep. No, I love it. The Marvin Mims news, man. I'm glad you brought that up. I kind of caught that. I had a really crazy busy day up until about an hour ago, and I love Marvin. He's always been one of my favorite players, so I'd be thrilled and happy for him. But yeah, it would be one of those where like maybe that's what it takes for us to actually be able to use him because it seems like all he does is make plays every time he touches the football. So I would love it, but it's a very confusing wide receiver room. And then, there's people on Twitter. I was kind of going on a back and forth. Like to get your thoughts now that you've let a few days kind of maybe, time for some actual thought about it. But like the idea of trading for AJ Brown doesn't really sit well with me anymore, unless it meant getting rid of Sutton, because it's just such a confusing room. So how do you even fix the room unless you're kind of replacing people instead of just adding to it? But any thoughts on AJ Brown? Like if the Broncos, if it was announced on Twitter right now that the Broncos made a trade for AJ Brown, how would you feel? And do you feel like there should be any corresponding moves?
I mean, I feel like we'd all be excited because we know what the caliber of playmaker that AJ Brown is. But, I think to answer your question, first of all, I think it would just be a wildly unsuccessful process to spend that much on 2 big wide receivers. So it's either AJ Brown or Sutton, and you can't have both. Now, it's kind of the idea of, okay, AJ Brown, and you're going to be down your first round pick most likely if you make a move for AJ Brown. But so that's the benefit of keeping Sutton. And, I know we're all mad at Courtland Sutton. I know that situationally he did have a lot of drops, but he still was our best receiver this past year. He still was our wide receiver 1. And I agree that situationally he just needs to be better. I agree that he is definitely on the lower end of spectrums of wide receiver 1s in the NFL. And I think he's just a guy whose just game won't age very well either. I think he maybe has another year or 2 of high-level ball left in him, and that's kind of it. That being said, to answer your question about any corresponding moves, I think it's either A.J. Brown and not be with your first-round pick or go into this year with Courtland Sutton because you can't just build this wide receiver room committing that much money to 2 of these guys. Yep. The production that you'd be getting from one of them would just be absolutely laughable compared to what you are paying them against the salary cap. But, yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys think.
David looks like he has got a lot of thoughts. Yeah,
I do. Okay, I'm cool with us trading for AJ Brown. If it's not these ridiculous dumb trades that I've seen on Twitter with like a 2nd round pick in Jonah Ellis. Are you serious?
Yeah.
No.
That makes it even worse.
I'm wanting things coming back with AJ Brown for giving up an edge that hasn't even entered his prime in Jonah Ellis, man. Come on. That's ridiculous. I would not trade a 1st round pick for AJ Brown. I wouldn't do it. But If we can get him for anything other than that, yeah, sure. And okay, maybe it's not the most ideal fit if you got both him and Sutton here. Dude, I don't even care. We saw Lil Jordan Humphrey get meaningful snaps on this team through the second half of the year. You're not telling me you can't move Court in to be big slot or AJ Brown to be big slot, keep Court on the outside. Like that, a good offensive coordinator, a good offensive mind figures out a way to just make the most out of getting the best talent on the field, regardless of what their overlapping strengths are. I think I think it would be a fantastic problem to have. Feeling like, man, we got a really nice wide receiver room, and one of the guys is overpaid. Well, hey, guess what? Cortland Sutton's essentially on 1-year deals every year for the rest of his contract right now. So you can move on from him after this year if you really wanted to.
I like it. I think for me, it's not so much about like, oh, I really want to replace Sutton. I just find a lot of redundancy between the two. Because yes, I do believe AJ Brown is a superior player right now in his career than Cortland Sutton. And you're not going to be able to get that full superior play unless Sutton's not in the picture, in my opinion. Because yes, you could say what you talked about, right? It is a good problem to have. You could switch Sutton to go to a different position, but what if he's not as good there? What if he's not as productive? Like, that's a lot of the questions that come to mind for me, which is why I think Wan'Dale Robinson is somebody that the Broncos need to target, because he's someone that I think clearly makes sense. There's a very clear need and a huge void in terms of what it is that he does. Oh, and adding to the fact that Pat Bryant's also your big body guy. Now, he played more in the slot this year, but he's also kind of another guy that clashes. So I like the idea of having, you think of the Eagles right now, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, right? A big receiver, smaller, quick guy. You got DT, you got Emmanuel Sanders. You look at a lot of those types of really dynamic wide receiver rooms, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. And so for me, it's like, I kind of like that contrast there a little bit more of getting the small, quick guys that can help you out under the middle, and then the big guy, big guys on the outside. But we'll see what happens, man. This wide receiver room is going to be one of many. Another newsworthy note that I think he had talked about was he kind of mentioned that some of their musts on the roster this year that they need to help out, help improve, is going to be inside linebacker and running back, with a little bit of sprinkling of tight end as well. Now, he did say that with the whole idea of, if you remove our free agents out of the picture because they're free agents, those are the big must-need positions. You guys take anything from that? Did you get any kind of inklings? Because Sean will give you a lot of tea leaf stuff if you look for it enough. Did you guys feel like maybe this team is early on in this process leaning one way or the other in terms of some of the offseason moves, whether in the draft or in free agency?
If Sean Payton is firing his best friends, if he's giving up play calling, I'm confident now I can say, I'm sure as hell Adam Troutman and Alex Singleton are not going to be back.
Yeah.
You
think so?
I think you're right. The reason I think you're right is because, we hear a lot about, the ego or whatever. But one thing about Sean Payton is that Sean Payton is a masterful self-scouter. Okay. How many times do we see this team look one way 1 week? Like, sometimes they'll look absolutely terrible, and then next week they will look like a completely different ball club. Okay. We went from allowing 70 points to the Miami Dolphins in 1 week, and then a month later we were forcing turnovers at an insane rate on the defensive side of the ball. And I just want to remind everybody that when it comes to what Sean Payton can do as a head coach and how good he is as a self-scouter. So I think he's not blind. I think he's not stupid. He watches our internet shows. He knows what we've been saying. He knows that his guys need to be shown the door. Okay. Once again, David mentioned it. Lil Jordan Humphrey got like a 74% snap share in the AFC Championship. Just can't have that happen again. Now, I get it. Desperation. No Bryant, no Franklin, whatever. But Alex Singleton, 100% of the snaps. I think they know that they can't really rely on that and bank on that, because our standards are to be a Super Bowl team. Okay. And you don't become a Super Bowl team by having Adam Troutman play most of your inline blocking snaps, which, by the way, if you could find that graphic and pull it up, that would be absolutely hysterical, because he was a blocking tight end this year. But
the one I tagged you in?
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Oh, man, that had me rolling.
Yeah. But either way, no, I think that this gives me a lot of optimism that in 2 weeks, all the guys that we've been talking about and panicking about are not going to come back. Now, if Rupier Adkins comes back, I don't know. I guess.
At
But-
$5 million.
Oh God, for $5 million would be ludicrous. But Singleton, Troutman, Jaleel Bidet, get off my roster. Lodron Humphrey, get off my roster. Okay. Yeah, guys. Yeah, guys. All right.
This
So
is
Adam
it.
Troutman is a blocking tight end, but the thing is, he wasn't even good at blocking. Okay. And by the way, I'm also completely out on Kate Otten. Bringing Kate
I know.
Otten
After
in.
seeing this, I kind of felt like I was too, man.
Dude,
Well, I just saw a
what the
lot of
heck?
the-
I just noticed him on here. Yeah,
Yeah.
forget him, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I think just a lot of the low points he had throughout this year, I've been seeing on Twitter in the past week. I'm just like, he doesn't fit here. I've had enough, guys. You know, I
Darnell
don't.
Washington on this list. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
But
painful.
you know what I'll say? Like, I mean, him blocking more than Adam Troutman has is terrible mismanagement by the Bucks, because he's got at least a little bit of upside there in terms of, being able to catch the football. But guys, if the Broncos end up signing Charlie Kolar, who is at the top of this list, and also Daniel Bellinger, who's also in here, if they sign both or one of those guys, just remember where you guys heard that first. And
yes. Hey,
Which
is
channels
Colby
or-
Parkinson a free agent?
No, Higbee is, but Colby Parkinson
Dang
isn't.
it.
I know. I would have loved.
Dude, why didn't we freaking sign Jawan Johnson? That was the dumbest thing with him going back to New Orleans, man. I
I know.
hated that.
such a layup too. It was given to us. We had the opportunity.
Like
And,
10 million
yeah.
a year.
Crazy stuff. But yeah. So fixing the tight end room, man, I think that's a big thing. Anything I didn't get to finish the Sean Payton one. I didn't watch anything with George Payton. Was there anything else that kind of stuck out with those ones? Maybe people in the chat can let us know too if they watched it.
No, but it looks like, man, we got some snowflakes in the chat talking about Bounty Gate. Oh my God, dude. We're talking about a sport where guys are doing steroids, HGH, cocaine. Who knows what these guys were doing in the 80s and 90s, before the internet? Shut up, man.
Yeah.
Shut up, man. Who cares about Bounty Gate? Bounty Gate happens all the time.
The NFL needed a fall guy. Sean Payton was the fall guy. Everybody and their mom was doing it. It is what it is. Get over it, dude. Get over it. Honestly, I'm all for Bounty Gate. You know what? Do it. Pay guys to go injure dudes. I don't care. You're getting paid enough. You can make these decisions.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
How about Bill Belichick and Spygate, man? That was innovative.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
People
and somehow-
tend to, they forgot about that, it seems like, right?
Yeah.
Well, they kept him out of the Hall of Fame just because of that, and just because of the fact that, I don't know, they just had an axe to grind with Bill Belichick. But either way, come on, guys. Spygate, you're right. That was complete innovation. Did you guys see the evidence for Bountygate too? It was the least convincing evidence I've ever seen. All right. I think all the people on the NFL board back then in 2012, when that thing came to light, would have a great job in Washington, D.C. as politicians, because the evidence was terrible. It was just a whole bunch of nonsense. And it was like a he said, she said. Well, they played recordings that just didn't line up to what everything went on about.
Yeah.
So Bountygate never happened. Or I'm not going to say it never happened, but it was a clearly exaggerated scenario that I don't know. I don't know why it still follows Sean Payton to this day, when if you look 2 seconds into the evidence, it was so weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I want to ask y'all a question.
Face reality. That's so funny. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, man. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. All right. That's how I see it, man. We were like circumventing the salary cap in our back-to-back, dynasty.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, about Dre Greenlaw. You'd save a little bit of money by letting him go. What was really frustrating is by the end of the year, he still didn't have the trust that Vance Joseph had in Alex Singleton and Justin Sternad, where you still saw on passing downs with one linebacker. A lot of the times, freaking Alex Singleton was out there calling the defense. You're not even having your best coverage linebacker out there. I'm optimistic that he can learn the defense, right? Like, wasn't he doing all that green dot stuff in San Francisco?
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not going to be that green dot guy this year for you, should you look to cut him? And with all these running backs getting tagged, we got money to spend. Should we just go after freaking Devin Lloyd and just restart?
No. No, I can't get behind cutting Greenlaw, okay? Just because you've seen what he looks like when he is healthy. And like, I get it. He's had a lot of injuries, and I know that the linebacker position is one that you can fall off very quickly. But even then, like, I'm sorry, we just need pure talent in our room. And Dre Greenlaw, talent-wise combined, is leaps and bounds better than pretty much every guy in that room combined, like by 100. Like, I'm sorry, but Dre Greenlaw, we just need talented dudes with high upside in this linebacker room, okay? You know, you saw what Dre Greenlaw looked like in his last full healthy season with the San Francisco 49ers, and it is genuinely one of the best linebackers in the league. So cutting a guy who has that level of potential in his game, regardless of if he can't speak Spanish or not, regardless of if he can't wear the blue dot, red dot, whatever, green dot, yellow dot, I don't care. I just want talented players at the linebacker position. Okay, you don't get better in your linebacker room by cutting Dre Greenlaw.
No, I 100% agree, man. I think the whole like Spanish comment that he made was blown a little bit out of proportion. I mean, I know what he was saying is a complicated offense, but defense in a sense, but it can't be that complicated. I mean, more than any other defenses that he's played in. And also, I mean, people forget, man, like this guy did not play a snap until October. You know, like he just didn't play a lot of football this year, obviously with the injury, which is another big part, but his contract is so cheap. We want dogs. We want guys that'll like run through a train, commit some penalties, do some crazy stuff. Dre Greenlaw is exactly that. Like he's Seth McGowan, but on the defensive side. This guy had the balls and the audacity. Like this is how psycho he is. He had the balls and the audacity to like get in Drake May's face and talk shit after he ran for the game clinching first down in the AFC Championship game. He was still jawing at him. Like, I don't care if you guys just won. I'm still going to let you guys know about it. So, I mean, like, I love Dre Greenlaw. I love the signing. It was a very unfortunate season, but if he can stay healthy, man, this offseason and get past the soft tissue stuff, he's only 28. His contract is cheap. I think he's a really good building block guy. And there's no reason why I don't think he could be the green dot guy. I think that there's a lot of guys that could have that role too, but he's
really
because
it seems like it's only for Mr. Nice Guy on the team, man. Is it true? I saw that Mike put in the chat. I don't know if there's like a quote out about George Payton saying he wants Singleton and Strnad back. I don't know when he's trolling. I don't know when he's serious, but that would
he probably did because George says that every year about everybody. We'd love to have him back. And what else are you gonna say? Is he really going to come out and be like, nah, he's going to test free agency. We have no interest. Like, he's going to say that.
You should say it was a good run. We're looking to get younger. That's all you need to say.
Well, he's not Brandon Beat. Okay, we don't need to be the Bills. We don't need to go up to the podium and just completely throw our draft pick that we made under the bus. We don't need to be like, well, that scrubbalicious wide receiver we took, that was the coach's fault.
Yeah, right? I know.
We don't need to do that, okay? Now, I get it. It is a little frustrating that when George Payton goes to the podium, he says literally nothing. Like, we like what we have. We trust our coaches to develop his skill set. I like what he brings to the room. Listen, we've heard that in every George Payton press conference for the last 4 years. What does it mean? Doesn't mean a whole lot, okay? They said last year, I think Javonte is one of the best pass protecting backs in the draft, or in the league. And then they didn't bring him back.
Yeah.
Nor should they have.
And I don't think anyone really thought that they would too. But yeah, he's going to say the right things. It's so funny because him and Sean are so opposite. I bet you they fight all the time of like, George probably gets pissed at Sean. He's like, dude, you're saying too much. And Sean's like, dude, you're not saying anything. You're just boring as hell up there. But honestly, like I'd prefer my GM to be like that. That's exactly what you have to do. You got to just keep everything, tucked away and not really give. But I would like to see a little bit more aggression from him. So one thing I took away from this man, and I feel more, I wouldn't say I'm very confident in this, but I think the chances of us drafting along the offensive line, specifically in the first round this year, is increased quite a bit. Sean Payton kind of said something a little bit about it. He said, the biggest, the most important foundational part of your team is your offensive line. They set the tone. They're going to force your defensive line to quickly, catch up because they're kicking their ass in practice, which you saw that happen in 1 year. Very, very good job. That's why, the big identity on our team is great O-line, great D-line. And he said, and we've always looked at guys and tried to think ahead. And we've usually taken those players in the early rounds. And then he kind of caught himself. He goes, and sometimes in the middle rounds too. But it seemed like he was thinking to himself like, yeah, we're thinking about maybe going O-line first, early on in the draft, which I love that idea, even though it would be boring. I love it. Any thoughts on that?
Go,
David, you want to start?
Go.
Okay, I'll go. All right. Man, that makes me so happy. Here's why. You do not want your O-lines and D-lines to age out right now, okay? Also, shout out Gregory Miller in the chat. Too bad you missed the Cortland Sutton talk a little bit earlier.
Missed
but,
my guy. I missed my
way.
guy, Gregory, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been a minute. But either way, no, as far as going trenches in the first round, I don't care if it's O-line. I don't care if it's D-line. I think it'd be a really, really good idea, okay? Because the best teams, like, you don't want to be like the Dallas Cowboys and just completely age out on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensively, especially in the trenches, all right? And we have a lot of third contracts on that D-line. That could get old. That could get very expensive really quick, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Jones, Roach, Allen, those guys are all on third contracts now, okay? So whether it's O-line, whether it's D-line, I don't know. We also, one of the needs that I feel like not enough people are talking about, we need somebody to replace JFM. And I'm not talking about Savion Jones, plug and play. No. We need somebody to actually come in that can do it, has been there, done that, because you can give Savion the opportunity, but, you can't just bank on it, all right? He was a third-round pick last year. But either way, we haven't drafted a tackle since 2017, since Garrett Bowles, all right? So along the offensive line, you want to get our trenches are starting to get a little up there on both sides of the ball. So let's actually draft a tackle. All right. I get why we went out and signed McGlinchey a handful of years ago, but those guys, Bowles and McGlinchey, their games are heavily predicated on athleticism. You don't want to be caught with your pants down during your Super Bowl window with no solution, just in case one of those guys hits the wall. What do you guys think, David?
Dude, this is so relieving. We haven't drafted a left tackle since Garrett Bowles. We have been so lucky, because that's terrible process. Absolutely terrible process to go like over 10 years without drafting a left tackle, man. And right now, we got to make sure that we're never giving Bo Nix what Patrick Mahomes has had to deal with in Kansas City, man.
Yep.
What Justin Herbert has had to deal with in LA. What Mendoza will deal with for the first part of his career when he's a Raider. Because we know he's not going to be a Raider his whole career. So, yes, go and I would be happy with any of these guys. Guards being Ione from Penn State, Pregnon from Oregon, Basantis, Texas A&M. And then, maybe even a tackle. Caleb Lomu, Utah. Monroe Freeling, Georgia. Max Ianacher. Dude, that guy's only been playing football for a few years, so he's on Payton's radar. That guy's awesome. I mean, I think he came here from, like, Nigeria in high school, like, late in high school, and then, like, just started playing football. Like, he was playing soccer or something like that. And
who is this?
Basketball. I think it might have been basketball.
You're not sure?
Oh, you're not sure?
Yeah. And he's only been playing football like a few years, man. And
apparently he dominated at the Senior Bowl too.
Yes. So there's a lot of guys that we could get, and because Mike McGlinchey, he's been good. I think he's been good, but he's nearing that age to where he's not going to be here for forever, man. This might be the last go around with Mike McGlinchey.
Yep. No, I agree, man. I think it should be one of the. I think it's a bigger need in the draft, at least, than wide receiver is, in my opinion, for the Broncos team, because I think it's extremely important, man, that you keep, you develop these guys, you continue to have guys in the pipeline. Just like you said, you don't want to age out. You don't want to do what the Chiefs did, the Cowboys, a lot of these teams. You've got tackles that are playing the best football, arguably, of their career, but they are getting up there in age, and we know when it declines quickly. And we're one snap away from Frank Crump being your starting left tackle. Now, he could be really good, but it's not a good enough solution, in my opinion. There's a lot of good guards. I really love the idea at 30. If Caden Proctor's there, he's going to be a really polarizing prospect because there's going to be teams that love him. The combine is going to be huge for him. Yes. Can he play tackle? Can he not? One thing I think he can do really, really well, man, is be a dominant guard. And we need a left guard this year. I think he could be a starter, plug-and-play guy at guard, be an absolute tank in the run game. And then if he shows that he could be a really good tackle, he could be your future starting tackle on either side at one point too. But got to have those guys. And I think it's unbelievably important. And same goes for the D-line. Cody, you had mentioned that you were looking at maybe another veteran guy to replace JFM. Do you have anyone in mind, like a cheaper, younger, maybe type of defensive lineman option? If you don't, I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but
honestly, I was looking at like the free agent defensive ends that would like fit the John Franklin Myers mold, like before I did my video on Sunday night, like my preferred targets. And the best one was LJ Collier. I was like, I can't put that on YouTube. So I can't begin my top 5 free agent targets with LJ Collier. I can't do it.
yeah.
So I was thinking about Colorado. Aussie brought this up in the Discord, Keanu Benton, because the Steelers do have a litany of defensive tackle talent. Like they just drafted Harmon a year ago, and Keanu Benton may be a little expendable for them. So that is somebody who I'd be looking for, like as a trade target, who the team might be looking to get rid of, similar to the Jets a couple years ago when they just let JFM walk for God knows what reason. They literally were just like, get off our team, because they were deep at the defensive line back then. But yeah, I think, we could reap the rewards of that. Now, obviously expecting a guy like that to come in, play JFM's role and be as good as JFM, maybe not the best, but at least, you can't do what you did a couple of years ago where you have Jonathan Harris next to Zach Allen. Okay. Defensive line is not plug and play in this scheme. I don't care how strong the other guys are.
I agree.
Would y'all take a flyer on Calais Campbell?
Yes.
Play one more season. Yeah,
I would.
Yeah. He'd be a great locker room guy to have too, man. I mean, listen, if we sign Mercedes Lewis, and I get it's tight end, but if you're going to take a flyer on Mercedes Lewis, you could do it for the local kid too, man.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
and Calais Campbell's like actually still been really good over the past 2 years. Like obviously he can't be the solution, but be a part of it.
Same with DeMario Davis. I got a name for y'all, man, and that's Logan Hall, right?
I saw him. Yeah, I thought about him too.
He's a former second-round pick. He's 25 years old. And I'll tell you, man, he hasn't been very good so far. Like, he's been decent. It actually hasn't been that bad. He's just been okay there in Tampa. But, man, 6'6", 283. He's like the perfect size to be that 3 tech to fill in for JFM. He might take a 1-year prove-it deal. I don't think he's going to be very expensive, but he's someone that really piqued my interest a lot, as well as a potential kind of young dude, another body to bring in there. Because, yeah, man, I mean, 6'6", 283 is crazy. And he was the 33rd overall pick. So he was basically a late first rounder. Obviously had a lot of talent coming out of Houston, but he's someone that is a possibility too. There's always going to be those guys at positions that you didn't even think of that end up getting signed. So, David, do you have any names or anyone you're thinking of?
No, not at all. Other than that, Spot Track is way off on these projected salaries for defensive linemen, man. They right now they got JFM at like a little under $8 million. If that's truly his market, we should just bring him back. The problem is that it's probably going to be at least double that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least. Again, eventually you have to delegate the money elsewhere, right? Like Darian here says, you can't pay 5 linemen and have a first rounder on the bench. Yeah, I agree. That's why I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think at this point that Ben Powers is going to be cut for that reason. But you have to, you got to be smart. I mean, you always have to think a couple years ahead too. It's not always just about for this year, because that's how you get caught up, because you're putting all your chips in the basket. If you don't end up winning it, man, you get a lot of injuries, bad luck, things happen, then you're super screwed if you're not, constantly building it out. So I think that they will, man.
I did, before I forget, want to ask you guys on how you felt about the Breece Hall news. Does this change what you want? I know we talked a little bit about it on Horsepower Hour, but why haven't they tagged him yet? Why? Because you can tag him before, negotiating a contract extension. Isn't that a little strange?
Yeah, I think that there's some politic play to it. I think to myself, like, if I was the GM, I would probably come out there and say that we were going to tag him, because that'll spur a little bit of, and I think they probably will, but announcing it and not doing it officially will kind of get a little bit of dialogue regarding potential trades. Now, maybe another GM might come to you and say, hey man, you're going to tag Breece. What are you looking to get for him? Type of a thing. Or it can kind of initiate that convo. So, you know, who knows? I mean, it's a smart thing for the Jets to do. Like, I would try to tag and trade him, but then again, you're also, you know, running the risk of you know, it being a big distraction, but their whole franchise is a distraction. So I don't know what they'll ultimately do, but it doesn't really change anything for me. I'm not surprised by it. I would make the call and see what they wanted, but I wouldn't give anything more than a day 3 pick for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. And like, I don't know, we all expected this all along. It doesn't change my outlook on Brees. I still think he's going to be well worth giving up at least a low draft pick for. But yeah, you said it best. Like, if you're the Jets, like, why would you not do this? Okay.
Mhm.
You know, when you're the Jets and your roster is that bad and you have that little to hang your hat on, you need basically any sort of leverage you can get and any sort of team control you can get. And Brees Hall, since they traded away Quinnen and since they traded away Sauce, is definitely the best player on the team. Maybe Membu will get there soon, but maybe Ola will get there soon. But ultimately, I think with Brees Hall, it's just one of those things that even though he doesn't play a very valuable position, you know, the Jets, they should have done this. And Mark, you're right. You know, hey, man, if we use a tag on him, what are you going to give us sort of thing? So I don't know whether they actually do or not. I don't know. They could easily just come out in the next like couple weeks and be like, well, you know, we decided to act within the best interest of Brees Hall. And I don't think anybody would blame him, but I think ultimately we all expect him to get tagged. But it doesn't, to answer your question, it doesn't change my outlook on Brees Hall. I'm still more than happy trying to get him here in a trade.
Yep, no doubt about that. I love we're having some fullback talks. I actually have heard of Jackson Acker. I didn't know he was going to be a fullback. I know he's a tight end from Wisconsin, but hey, he could be a possible free agent, you know, fullback guy. I don't know, man. We kind of fell in love with Prentice here, though. We kind of had a little Prentice thing going, so that might.
Prentice is good, but you know, y'all got me on, you know, leading Heidenreich fan club now, man. He right now, what I'm doing is I'm giving up 2 of those 7th round picks to move up to go get him.
Heidenreich's not a fullback though. Like, I think the way
but he can play fullback.
Like, he probably could, but he needs to gain what, like 30, 40 pounds before he actually gets like NFL fullback weight.
Yeah. Dude, it was so funny because I don't know if it was PFF or someone had him listed at fullback and he had like all these crazy rushing yards, right? And I'm like, now that is because he's a white running back from Navy. Like, that's definitely getting the white treatment. There's no way around it. Like, he's literally 206 pounds, dude.
Yeah,
like,
what
makes you think?
Dude.
No, he measured in at 197 at the Shrine Bowl. Okay, that's not fullback weight. Okay, I get that military academies have weight requirements, but I'm not just banking on him getting 30, 40 pounds and keeping his same explosiveness.
Yeah.
Like, Mark, you studied sports medicine. Do you think that's possible?
No, I mean, it's possible, but how much you're gonna injure yourself? How much slower are you gonna get? Yeah, I don't know about all that, man.
If we don't draft him, I'm gonna be devastated. But if we don't draft him, I guess even when we do draft him, I like Prentice, man. Got no qualms with him.
Yeah. I'm good with I mean, honestly, in an ideal world, I feel like a fullback kind of just takes up a roster spot that you don't necessarily need, but we're so damn desperate about, you know, for the run game last year that we were looking at anything. But I mean, if you could have a good run game and not need a fullback, that just kind of saves you a roster spot. Same thing with long snapper,
giving this man carries as a halfback, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we were. They should have done it on that 4th and 1. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Rodney Garcia brings a good question. Would you trade Moss for AJ Brown straight up?
I would.
Yes.
I think you're just straight up pulling from the best area of the team, and you're just basically just adding to one of the positions where the team needs the difference maker the most. I would do it.
David, you would?
Yeah, man. I mean, we need to decide, are we going to pay this guy or not?
Yeah.
Now, I know that random Broncos account, or it's not even a Broncos account. They like made it seem like he was a free agent this year. Yeah. $13 million for Riley Moss a year. You know, if it's that cheap, might as well do that. But
yep.
I don't know. I think he's our best trade chip right now. Maybe Jonathan Cooper, like you've brought up, Mark. one of those guys could help us get an elite weapon.
Would you guys give up a 3rd-round pick for AJ Brown?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You would?
Especially because we got 2 4ths.
Yeah. I only asked that because I think that's what you could probably get in return for Riley Moss. So I don't know if I would do that, man. As weird as that sounds, I know I'm a little bit. Maybe I'm the part of the minority. Like, I like the idea of trading Moss and getting something in return. Getting a 3rd-round pick would be cool, but I don't know what it is about AJ Brown and the way that I see the fit here. It just doesn't sit quite right with me, man. But better believe I'd be thrilled if it happened. I mean, we're going to talk about it, but I think that there's better options there at the wide receiver position. Ways to fix it, in my opinion, for sure. So,
I think it was Cecil's show. They brought up about Brandon Jones, moving Barron over to safety. Barron actually has smaller arms than Riley Moss.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people thought, and a lot of real NFL scouts saw him playing on the outside, no problem. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I would like to just give Barron a full run this year. I don't care where it's at.
Yeah, I would too. I think the best thing the best solution for the Broncos is have a full-on competition in training camp between him and Riley Moss. Let the best man win. If it's pretty even and you feel comfortable going with Barron, then you can trade Moss. Then it would just suck because you wouldn't reap the benefits of it this year. But that's probably the smartest thing for the Broncos. But man, for me, I'm so confident in the kind of player that Barron is. And it's not even really because of what he's shown in his rookie year. It was really from what I saw out of college and the kind of person that he is. I felt like with that rookie year kind of getting some things under his belt, I think he's going to be a really special player, man. And I just want to see him. But if we run it back with Riley too, it's totally fine because he performed admirably as well. But I just like to see a little bit more playmaking there. So we'll see. Maybe Mike Zimmer will be able to unlock this defense.
Yeah, just
he is a secondary guru. That's kind of where he's made his mark. And what do you guys think about the Mike Zimmer news, by the way? It looks like they're probably going to make it official early next week. Sean hinted at that a little bit. He'll be in some senior defensive role with the team.
Listen, I know he had Harrison Smith, but man, think about the litany of Vikings corner busts from 2014 to 20, whatever, when Mike Zimmer was the coach. Okay. I'm thinking about Trey Waynes. I'm thinking about Xavier Rhodes, who completely fell off a cliff there. Mike Hughes, who they took, I think, 30th overall in the 2018 draft. I don't know. Since he's not going to be an actual coach, it's kind of like John Morton, but on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know. I was never really a huge fan of him in Minnesota. I thought the way he treated Cousins in the last year was just not very good. But either way, I don't know. I don't really care because it's not really that impactful, but we'll see.
Yep. David knows a little bit about Mike Zimmer, being that he's the Buffs guru. What are your thoughts on Mike Zimmer at all? I know he was. What was he? Just a consultant there with CU?
I don't think he ever came.
It shows on here that in 2023 he was an analyst / consultant.
Oh, in 2023, he didn't help shit.
He analyzed an ass football team.
Yeah. What did he do? Just watch terrible football all week?
Yeah, he put the anal in analyst. That's funny.
Yeah, and he was probably sitting next to Pat Shurmur while he was mailing it in too. So, whatever. That's cool. I don't really think it makes much of a difference. And now, did we hire a secondary coach yet? I'm trying to remember.
The USC guy, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Cool. Let's hope it works out.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about Mike Zimmer and being a consultant for CU in 2023, I'm just all right, so you consulted a team that beat TCU in week 1. All right, cool. Him doing his consulting for the rest of the season was probably hey, you guys ever tried losing? Or not losing?
They still gave up 42 points in that TCU game or something ungodly, man. We had the worst defense in FBS football that year. So, Mike Zimmer didn't analyze anything for us.
Yeah, no. But I do have a question for y'all. How do you guys feel about moving on from root beer? about moving on from Nate Atkins because I don't really like him. I just don't think he adds much to this team. I don't think he's really that good of a blocker either. He's kind of like Troutman, where he's, the main selling point for him is his blocking. I remember him doing a handful of cool things in the red zone. Like I was at the game against the Colts where he did that cool spin move. But ultimately, I just don't think he's that good. And I think there's a lot of day 3 guys we could take to definitely replace his skill set.
Yeah. I'm kind of up. If we wanted to bring him in, I know what was the numbers that David, you freaked out about the $3.5 million,
$5 million or 5 point whatever,
5.8 million.
Yeah. The 5.8's a little, that's a little bit extra. The 3.5,
God, no.
That's kind of the going rate. Listen, for me, man, like it seems like Sean loves him, which is ultimately like the most important thing. I think he's an asshole, obviously, hence the root beer vape, whole thing. But he's still a young kid. He was really injured last year. I know he can. Listen, I know that like as a blocking tight end, he's better than Troutman was. I've seen it. Last year, I kind of give him a pass because he was just banged up the whole year. And he doesn't really give you less in the passing game either if he was given the same opportunities as Troutman. So I think he's a better, younger replacement for Troutman. But man, this tight end room needs to be like completely overhauled. I'm totally for keeping Evan Ingram. I'm talking about like the blocking tight end piece and like what they like to do physically. So if they brought him back at 3.5, fine. If they didn't, completely fine too. Like give me Jake Bellinger, give me Charlie Kolar. I know both of those guys can block. That's a certainty. And if they can't, then there's something wrong internally. And Jake Bellinger can give you a little bit of upside. I'd rather go that route. But I think it begs the question of like, you're getting rid of Nate Atkins for who, right? Obviously. So, but there's not going to be a lot of people that you can be like, oh, we got worse, So it's it's kind of
exactly.
What it is with him.
No. Exactly, Ed. David, go ahead.
I will riot if we even spend $3 million on him, man. He is not he's a fringe NFL roster player, dude. He's likely a practice squad type of talent. Like, let's be honest. In order for us to win the Super Bowl, right, it's going to be hard to get there. We're getting close, but we need to churn over kind of the bottom 10% of this roster, man. Like, seriously, we need to cut bait and look to upgrade. Mm-hmm. For a handful of positions, we're kind of at, hey, if we just had a top dog there, everybody would slot in being like way above average for where they're at, like on these depth charts compared to the rest of the NFL, man. So we're kind of there with our defense, which is great outside of linebacker, but our skill position groups really need that. And I think we all kind of see Evan Ingram, like he could be a really, really good complementary tight end for us, situational tight end, but we still need that. Like imagine him as the tight end 2 in this offense. That could be great. Imagine Carson Ryan on this roster as the tight end 4 instead of Nate Atkins. Like that's just so much
Sam
better.
Roush.
Yeah, exactly. Like think about all the guys. Like there's a lot of short arm guys that I really, really like to replace Atkins in the H-back role. Okay, Roush, 31-inch arms, probably will not be a widebacker.
Is that what he measured in at?
Yeah, at the Cedar Bowl, like
31-inch arms.
Yeah, so like he is not. That's why I have, Mark. I know you were surprised.
Holy shit!
I know you were surprised probably when I had him as my tight end 15, but he is not going to play in line with those arms. That being said, I really, really like him or Cuevas or Royer to replace Rupert Atkins because you actually get upside there as like an H-back from those guys. And I think all those guys not only can block well, but they actually give you juice in the passing game, which is something you don't have from Rupert Atkins.
Dude, that's shorter arms than Will Campbell, right?
No, that's insane actually, because he's 6'6".
He's like a T-Rex out there.
Dude, no, like that's actually like I have 31-inch arms, guys. That's actually crazy. But listen, I mean, so he would be an inline tight end. So it's not like he's a full-time tackle where I get it. What I saw from him at Stanford as a blocker, like, man, I think there's a lot to work with there. I loved his effort, but it's not just because of his blocking ability, even though I think he could be a really good blocker. I think he's actually like a genuinely going to be a good tight end as well. I think he's got a lot of upside. I can't wait to see what he runs. I think he's going to surprise some people at the combine. But yeah, that 31-inch arms, that kind of hit me a little bit. I did not even realize he's got. Yeah, that's crazy. But again, I think that I'd love Sam Roush. Carson Ryan would be really good. Who else did you mention that was going to be really good blocking tight end? There's quite a bit in this draft, actually.
Yeah, there's quite a few. But as far as the H-back role guys, I really like Royer and Cuevas from Alabama too.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard good things about Royer in terms of his blocking. There's a lot of like mixed bag on Oscar Delp. Is he kind of more of a blocking type too? I know that some people say he wasn't used properly.
Let's talk about Oscar Delp.
Let's talk about Oscar Delp. So I've been really pushing back on a lot of the consensus, like the media stuff that's pushing him into round 3, round 4. Just because if you look at his production profile, it's genuinely like one of the worst of any tight end that would probably ever be drafted in round 3, round 2. Okay, I get it. Like in 8 games this year, he had either 1 or 0 catches. And there's going to be truthers out there that are just like, oh, just watch the film. Stockton missed him. I'm just like, dude, at a certain point, just earn some targets, dude. And he's going to test really well at the combine. But no, his film was really, I know tight end film is really, really boring. Like they were my first position that I watched. And I don't know. I just don't want us to take that profile. I just don't want to take a guy who capped out at 20 catches every year in college.
I don't care about the stats. I don't care about the stats at all with tight end. Go and find the best athletes possible, especially on day 3. All right.
Well, a lot of people think that Delp is going to run at 4.5. So if he runs that, then I guess there you go.
He's a 6'5" tight end running a 4.5. I'll take a 5th round pick on that all day and just see what happens. Even though the Caleb Lohner pick was a disaster, Oscar Delp was a highly rated recruit coming out of high school. He's been at Georgia for forever. You can take a flyer on him,
man. And I just found something that I think this might sell you guys all and everyone in the chat too on Oscar Delp. David, I know you're really big on like where these guys come from, right? You love the Jeremy Crawshaw pick because where was he from again in Australia?
Emu Plains.
Emu Plains, right? Oscar Delp is from Cumming, Georgia.
Isn't that where Clay
and
Webb
it is
from?
actually spelled Cumming, Georgia. He's from Cumming, Georgia.
Yeah, like I said, isn't that where Clay Webb is from? Or am I missing something?
You know what?
Dude, whatever happened to Clay Webb?
Yeah, he was the Titans.
Dude, he was supposed to make this roster.
He was. I don't think he's from Oxford, Alabama is where he's from. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was funny. Josh Cuevas actually had 31.5-inch arms too.
Exactly. That's why I think he'd be best as an H-back. Like, I don't think he's going to be good enough in line. But, man, some of the tackle breaking ability and the fact that Bama went to him on 3rd and 4th down as much as they did, that's why I like him. That's why I do have him as like a fringe day 2, day 3 guy.
Yeah. But I'm with you too, David. Like, give me those good athletes, man. And speaking of, Tanner Koziol from Houston is exactly that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that dude keeps popping. I don't know if he can block. He's got long-ass arms, and he's 6'6", 245. But I'll tell you what, this guy is everything that Sean Payton wanted Caleb Lohner to be as an athlete and as a pass catcher. This dude he's legit, man. Tanner Koziol is fun, too. So he's another name. There's going to be a lot of fun ones, but we'll see if we ultimately draft one, because we had opportunities to get a lot of good tight ends last year, man, that could block at least, Mitchell Evans.
I don't even care about injury history that much outside of like if we're talking like using a 1st round or 2nd round pick on a tight end, man. Like that's why Raritan, I don't care about his injury history, dude. This guy can be the next Gronk. He can. He's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he could turn out to be Jake Butt. But I'd rather swing big than play it safe at the tight end position.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think it'll happen. I would even agree, and I would be more optimistic if it does. Like, had we had legitimately good blocking tight ends, like if Troutman and Atkins were just really good blockers, cool. Then swing for the fences. But it's like we don't even have the foundation for this room yet. But I mean, I'm all for it, dude. Like,
because like
give me Sadiq, give me 2 guys.
Dulcich, it just didn't work out. Yeah, but the problem is what you're getting at is we had nobody behind him.
Yeah. Yep. And I still think we gave up on him a little early. You know, we didn't have the tight end room that was so intriguing and productive that it's like, you know, right when we finally get Greg Dulcich healthy, we're going to let him go. Like he would have been the best tight end probably on our team
Lucas
last year.
Kroll over him.
Yeah, exactly. We picked Kroll over Dulcich, and I'm sorry, who runs faster? Like I said last night on Horsepower Hour, Gronk in this current time or Lucas Kroll. All right, and also talking about Dulcich in particular, like when you miss and it's a bad room, and okay, they definitely missed on the pick, but you know when the rest of the room is bad, you know those picks they get hit with a magnifying glass as to how bad they are. Baron Browning, okay, didn't work out as a 3rd-round pick. Nobody gives a shit right now because we had Cooper from that same draft and Benito turned into what he did. So ultimately, yeah, like, I don't know. Greg Dulcich was also just hit with a magnifying glass because of how bad our tight end room has been the past 2 years. But yeah, once again, going back to like the topic of this, I'm excited to see what happens with the tight ends because I felt like the deployment was just trolling. I felt like every week it was like, why are we not using Evan Ingram more? Why are we not using Marvin Mims more? Well, it's a game plan specific sort of thing. I'm just like, dude, then switch the game plan. All right. Let's be a little more serious about the personnel we use in our passing situations.
No,
dude,
Taysom
Hill's a better blocker than all these guys we've had, right?
Yeah. And he's smaller than all of them. But he lights somebody up, bro. Yeah, man. I'm right there with you. Like, and the thing, I think what frustrated me so much about Greg Dulcich the most was like, okay, he had all these injuries. He was like becoming kind of the Drew Sanders. And finally he's healthy. 2 games and we cut him. It's like we couldn't at least ride it out. Like you waited all this time and you just flat out cut him. Right when he's starting to get healthy. And like he was out there making plays for Miami a little bit last year. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just been so bad, like to the point where we were trying to hype ourselves up and making all these videos about Mercedes Lewis and his, it's awesome because
I mean, it was fun.
And it was fun. And I don't think we were wrong because that's how bad it was. Like that Mercedes Lewis was intriguing, but yeah, shout out to Eli Raridan. I just wanted to highlight that because I think Eli Raridan is going to be an absolute baller.
He's a beast. And when was the last time, like, has Adam Troutman been our biggest tight end free agent signing since Owen Daniels? Like, we just haven't spent any free agency dollars at that tight end position.
No,
we could have gotten like even just middle of the road guys, like freaking Austin Hooper would be great.
Yep.
No, for years we were relying on guys like Virgil Green, Jake Butt, Jeff Hireman, and I mean, we at least tried.
Virgil was a boss, dude.
Yeah.
I like me some Virgil. He was,
you could ball.
Yeah. Except he was for a long time. He was the next year's his year guy. But one thing, we did spend a high pick on Fant. He actually got 2021 600 yards with that Bridgewater Shermer offense. That's crazy production.
What was his ADOT?
Oh God, it had to have been.
We're throwing them screens half the time.
It had to have been like Zachariah Branch's ADOT from Georgia, where he had like this past year. Zachariah Branch had 2 games above a 5 ADOT. That's what Noah Fant's ADOT probably looked like that year.
Dude, I saw that like 53% of his routes ran this year were screens.
You saw the route tree?
Yeah, dude, that was great. I think Georgia misused him, man. I think that he's a lot better than how they decided to use him. But I saw Steve Smith rank him as like, I think his number like 6th or 7th wide receiver. Omar Cooper wasn't even on the list.
That's ridiculous to me that all these industry guys have branches like a 4, like number 4, number 5. I'm just like, what? That archetype never amounts to anything that can play real wide receiver. All right. I still think he should be taken probably mid-late 3rd because of how dynamic he is. And if he all else fails, you get a hell of a kick returner. Mm-hmm. But still, like, come on, dude. Like, he can't play wide receiver. Like, I mean, I'm going to have to go back and watch 2024 USC and see what he did next to Mekhi Lemon. But still, like, it's just weird.
At one point, Mel Kiper had him as wide receiver too. Now I saw that he updated that, which was the smart thing to do. But yeah,
last year.
No, it was like after the season.
What?
Yeah. I was like, he was like, I think this guy belongs in the 1st round. And I'm like, I don't know about all that quite yet. I mean, he might be a really good player.
If he's Devin Hester, sure.
Yeah.
If he's guaranteed Devin Hester, you draft him in the first round.
No doubt. But it's just weird.
But still, no, that was strange to me. It seems like there's always guys that just bounce around the NFL because teams are higher on them than fans and the media are. And I think that's just what's coming with Zachariah Branch. Like, I think he literally gets early second-round draft capital because teams and well-connected draft analysts seem to really, really like him and grade him high for whatever reason. So maybe he's just one of these culture guys that knows the playbook and does a lot of the right things and is a good asset to the wide receiver room, other than the fact that he can't run any downfield routes.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know what it is, man, but it's crazy.
Jelani Woods block? Sorry, random thought.
Jelani Woods, I mean, if you have a 10 relative athletic score and you can't do anything in the NFL, then I would assume not.
I was like a Jelani Woods truther guy, and he just never became anything.
Well, who's he with now?
Well, he's a free agent now. He's with the Jets this past year.
I was about to say, was he with the Jets?
Yeah, he was with the Jets. You know, it's funny because I think I was looking up tight ends and blocking and seeing the best ones, and I think Jelani Woods was ranked. It was either really good or really bad.
Let's see what it was. But this is how I would rebuild the room. Go get just the best athletes in free agency as possible. Mm-hmm. And you bet on being able to coach them.
Yep, I agree. And I feel like with blocking too, man, like a lot of it is like, do these guys like to block? That's the thing about Evan Ingram. It's not that I don't think Evan Ingram can't be a decent blocker. I just think he genuinely hates it. He tried to talk himself into it, but he just took no pride in it. Jelani Woods was not a good blocker.
Oh no.
He was a good pass blocker, but he's terrible at run blocking. But
tackle.
Yeah. So I think so much of it is like, do you take pride in doing it? Because if you do and you enjoy it, then I think eventually you're just going to be really good at it. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I always look at. Like, if a dude's just blocking his ass off in college and he looks like he's enjoying it, cool. He's going to be good. You know, I see that with Kenyon Sadiq. Like, I feel like he's not the best blocker, but he's had some flashes, but he takes a lot of pride in it, which you got to love. You're like, I can coach that into him then and reward him. So,
yeah, even a guy like Kojal in the draft, like, even though, like, I thought his blocking was, like, adequate, but all I care about at the college level is that these guys actually do it. And if they can pancake dudes, then fantastic. That's just the cherry on top. But Kojal, I mean, he's a possession chain mover sort of guy. You know, he only broke 2 tackles this year on 74 receptions. But, hey, Zach Ertz made a living off of that. There's that Twitter account, will Zach Ertz break a tackle? And I still don't think it's been posted to since 2019.
He didn't have to against us, man. All he did was just cook.
Oh, yeah.
So, yep. No, I'm right there. But yeah, your boy Darnell Washington's one of the best out there, man. He would be such a great tight end option for us if that was ever a possibility, but don't think so.
Dude, him or Freiermuth. Try to get one of them, dude. Mm-hmm. I don't even care.
Yep.
Yeah, Sadiq. What?
Go ahead.
I hate to extend this, but
no, you're good.
Dude, let's talk about Sadiq. Right now, Mark, the more I think about it, I know I'm going to get killed for this. But if I'm talking about pick 30 between Sadiq and CJ Allen, I think I'm going with CJ Allen.
I kind of would too, man.
I am too. I'm just not a big fan of tight end early. And the linebacker range last year, like Schlesinger and Campbell, like I get that CJ Allen, if you're banking on him to be that, that's probably a really stupid idea. But still, I still think, you know, tight end, you know, this regime values certain positions and doesn't value certain positions. Tight end is one that they just clearly, I don't think, really care about that much, to the point where they'd want to use a first round pick on that when, you know, they have trenches, they have, you know, wide receiver needs, they have all these other needs. Manuel McNeil-Warren, EMW out of Toledo, you know,
stud.
Yeah, he's stud, you know,
yeah,
copycat league, you know, they could draft him to be the next E-Man Worry, but still, you know, I think they just rather go those routes other than tight end. Sean Payton has not used a pick higher than 95th overall on a tight end.
Yeah, ever. No, it makes sense. And that's exactly why I agree with David. Like, I love Kenyon Sadiq. I think he's going to be a really good pro. I have no faith that this coaching staff is just going to utilize a tight end properly, especially a rookie tight end. You know what I mean? It's got to be a very specialized type of player. Like everyone's always like, well, look what he did with Jimmy Graham. And it's like, do people not remember who Jimmy Graham, like Jimmy Graham was a freak of nature. Jimmy Graham was like 6'7", I think 6'8", maybe even. And he was racing like the fastest guys on his team in the 40 and beating him. Like he's an absolute freak of nature. So those guys don't just come around. And I don't have any faith that they would use Sadiq properly or get the most out of him. Based off of what I've seen in the 3 years that he's been the coach. And I think CJ Allen is just a certified baller. I think he's going to be such a good linebacker for a long time. I think he's only going to rise. He's probably not going to be available at 30. But yeah, I'm right there with you, man. And I'd be thrilled with Taysom Hill, dude. I ain't going to lie to you, man. I really would be.
Dude, we need to sign him. He's going to be cheap. We need 3 to 4 new tight ends, man.
Mm-hmm. And this dude is everything. He's everything, bro. He's a backup quarterback. He's a fullback. He's a punt returner. He's a tight end. He does everything, man. He does it all. Like the dude's fun to watch, but he'd be a good gadget guy. But yes, I mean, I'm at the point now where anybody could, be an upgrade. And, Richie says Jimmy Graham couldn't block his way out of a wet paper bag. Didn't have to, which is my whole thing of like, then draft Eli Stowers, because you're not going to need Eli Stowers to block, but the dude is an absolute menace as a receiver. So it's very confusing because there's history of Sean like deploying like tight ends to not necessarily be blockers. But I think he only does that because he had other guys on the roster that were good at blocking. And so they were just like, get this guy a mismatch. We'll see.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the things are game plan specific. Rodney says, look at what the Raiders did with Bowers his first year. Well, first of all, Bowers is not in this draft class. Like, I get the thought process. I get the idea. But also, entirely different coaching staff. And listen, our staff just doesn't trust rookies, for whatever reason, unless they have to. Like, they weren't going to not play Bo Nix in the 2024 draft, but they look at it as a future play. And for better or for worse, that's just kind of the way it's been. All right. There are certain truths and trends that we can see as fans, and we have a 3-year sample, and we need to operate a lot of our offseason plans amongst the fact that they will not hit those parameters. And Mark, you want to hit us with what you just dropped in the chat?
Yeah, it's from Mike Kliss. They said that Broncos held several of their allotted 45 combine interviews with the draft's top inside linebackers, Sonny Styles, which they're not going to have any chance in hell of getting. Jacob Rodriguez and Jake Golday, both whom I love. They also put Josiah Trotter in there, who I'm not very high on, but he, could be there.
He related to Jeremiah Trotter?
He's his son. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But this just tells me, based off of the Broncos' history, is that we're not going to draft any of these guys because we never draft players that we actually have formal interviews with. It's the weirdest thing.
Did we meet with Harvey? Harvey? I felt like we met with all the other running backs. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we met with Jahdae Barron at any point. There's like a pretty long list of a lot of guys that we never actually, met with that we ended up drafting.
So cross off Jacob Rodriguez, cross off Jake Golday, cross off Josiah Trotter.
Hey, that means Kyle
you know
Lewis.
what? You know what? Respect my coast. If you need a ride to Columbus, I would be more than happy to come do this with you if he fell to number 30.
Dude, yes. I would even trade up a little bit for Sonny Styles is the man. He is the truth. He is really good. But yeah, and what's funny? I bet you if you dropped cocaine and he tested positive for cocaine, he still wouldn't drop the 30.
No, that's what I want for my linebackers, dude. If I want my linebackers and my running backs to be felons who have a lot of problems off the field.
Well, what's the Eagles D tackle, man? I mean,
Jalen Carter?
Yeah, wasn't he part of somebody dying in a street racing hit and run or whatever? And
Yeah.
I mean, he only fell like 8 spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like, dude, I'm telling you, you remember oh my God, who is the tackle? He's with the Commanders now.
Tunsil?
Tunsil. He fell on draft day. I feel like that was so planned by the team. They probably had that video and they're like, let's leak this so that he can fall to us, because that ended up being an unbelievable steal.
Did he fire his agent prior?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
I could be
Maybe.
making that up, but
No.
I thought it was theorized to be retaliation from his former agent.
Oh yeah, no, that would totally make sense too. But it's like, man, we had some people in the chat earlier that were like all sensitive about what was it, Bountygate?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Let's blackmail some of these players to get them to fall to you.
No, dude.
Let's take it a step further.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Desmond Watson. Would you guys get him?
Well, Kodiak's probably got a little bit of a half chub going on right now.
What do you mean half? I'm full.
You're full on already?
Yeah,
Damn,
it was
that
at
was
It was at 3/4 when we had talked about Eli Raritan, but now it's full.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Kodiak's guy last year, man. I'm definitely going to be following him. I don't know what's been going on with his weight gain, with his weight situation. But Ozempic can do wonders, but we'll see. He was an intriguing guy, man. At 440 pounds was moving. So
yeah, that Caden Proctor, like I saw something today about, well, if he stays under 380, he's probably in good shape for the combine. And I was just like, what? Like all these players are just getting fatter and fatter every single year.
No, I know. That's crazy. Yeah, the combine is going to be so big. Like in my opinion, he's got to play around 330, 340.
That's why I think I'm out on him, especially at altitude.
Yeah, but I mean, even at that size, like he definitely wasn't the most athletic tackle, but you're like, this guy is a freaking athlete, man. Like he gets into a legitimate strength and conditioning program and he kind of, loses even like 20 pounds. He could be really, really good, but yeah, I like him as more of a guard prospect.
Well, maybe if we redshirt him for a year, because we do that with our top picks, right? Maybe he would be good enough to then go from second year forward as like being an all-pro.
Yeah. You guys remember Juwan Taylor? I think in the 2019 draft, he was like ranked around like a fringe top 10 prospect. Fell all the way to Jacksonville at number 34 as a tackle because he was up to 400 pounds. And good Lord, 400 pounds is a lot of weight for a tackle, but it's also a lot of weight for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm interested to see what happens with these guys' weight. Like, I don't even know how they theorize, like, how they like remove guys from their board, because that's just such an interesting dynamic to me. 370 pounds, like playing in the NFL at 370 pounds, I feel like your joints and your knees and your back and your knees are just crying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. Can you guys believe this was Caleb Proctor coming out of high school?
There ain't no way.
Bro, I thought it was wrong. I clicked on the article and it said Proctor's a 6'6", 315-pound tackle. Committed to the Hawkeyes. This is his picture. Look, I even show you here.
What?
I was like, there's no way. That's the same Caden Proctor. But that's how he used to look, I guess. It seems like that's the wrong photo.
Yeah.
Dude, there ain't no way.
But dude, like it's on the ESPN. That's crazy.
No, dude, that's not him. There's no
This
way.
dude went from being
that guy
6'6",
is like
110 pounds.
Day.
Dude, this guy looks like Caden Proctor ate him. That's crazy. See? We're going off the rails now, man.
Oh my God.
That's
all right,
insane.
guys. I got to get out of here. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Likewise, man. Everybody in the chat, you guys have been dope. I love how we started this live to talk about Davis Webb, and we spent the first 10%, like maybe 10 minutes, less than 10%, I would say even, talking about that. And then we went off the rails. But thanks to you guys all in the chat. You guys have been dope. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channels if you're not already. Kodiak Broncos, David talks sports / Broncos. Also, he talks buffs. He talks about a lot of things. So be sure to go and like and subscribe, guys. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll catch you on the flip side, man. Peace.